mayor of the city of New York.
Absolutely. New York City Mayor Eric Adams joining us now live here on Katz and Cosby. Mr. Mayor, great to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And I think John Katz is my fellow Virgo.
Yes, he is. That's right. You just had a birthday recently, too. That's right.
That's right. Happy birthday, John. Sorry I couldn't get to your event. They had me all over the place.
Well, same time next year.
Mayor, this is Rudy Washington. You didn't have a party that you didn't invite me to?
No, never. I got one coming up. I'll make sure you're there.
Sounds good. Well, we're as New Yorkers, we've been having discussions all day, and we had former Deputy Commissioner of Terrorism, John Miller, who says hello to you, on just now. And a lot of New Yorkers are speculating that there's so many people coming through that border that they're scared that we're getting some possible terrorists coming through that border and that 9/11 could happen again.
It's clear that on the southern borders and even the northern borders, we have to make sure that there are proper precautions, Customs Border Patrol, and all of the vetting that's necessary should be in place for terrorism and any other acts of violence. And I think that we have to trust the federal government that that's being done. By the time they arrive here, New York City is not part of that process. We have to take the information that we have and make sure we safeguard our city.
How dire of a crisis are we in, Mr. Mayor, now? Because you made a lot of headlines in the last 24 hours that the migrant crisis, that we will face a financial tsunami. And how bad do you think? Is there a chance that we could be cutting back even on police and all of this? And what do you say to folks who say, why should we be putting Americans first before the migrants?
And people are tempted to take my very candid, real talk with New Yorkers as being anti-immigrant, anti-immigration, which is really silly. My relationship with the immigrant community throughout this city from all walks of life is commendable on so many levels. But I'm not going to be untruthful to New Yorkers. We are dealing with a major crisis. When you talk about $5 billion this fiscal year, when we do our November plan, that's $5 billion. That's the combination of when you look at what we're going to be spending. It is the fire department, Department of Sanitation, and Parks Department combined. That money has to come from somewhere. And taxpayers have really shouldered the burden of this for over a year without any real substantial help. I take my hat up to the governor and Speaker Hasty and Majority Leader Cousin for the $1 billion they had allocated in the last budget. But we need help. Washington gave us $104 million, around $104 million out of a $5 billion price tag. That's just not enough, and the current keep coming. Rita, we're getting 10,000 a month of migrant and asylum seekers. This is wrong for the migrant and asylum seekers to be living this way, and it's wrong for everyday New Yorkers to be going through this.
Mr. Mayor, New Yorkers are worried, you're going to be cutting the budgets. What should we do? Right now, Manhattan is people are worried walking around. Our stores used to be open till midnight. They're not open to midnight anymore. The cashiers, the stock boys don't want to work till midnight. The restaurants are not open till midnight or 10 o'clock at night. And after dark, people are scared to walk around. What do we do?
Well, I think that the reality is we have to take people from how they felt at the beginning, January 1st, 2022, to how they actually feeling now. We have some real W's that we put on the board, some real points. We've decreased crime, as I committed on the campaign trail. 5 of our 7 major crimes, you see a impressive decline, decrease in shooters, decrease in homicides. Subway ridership is back up. People are back on the subway. You remember how it was during those early days, losing someone that's like Michelle Gold being shoved to the subway track. We're capping out at 4 million riders. We're doing probably 3.6, 3.7 million riders a day. 99% of our jobs are back. You're seeing people coming back to the office spaces. So we have W's, but we have more to go. I know what this city can become, and I know what we need to get there.
What can we do, Mr. Mayor? What can we do to back up our police officers, because they are scared to make arrests sometimes because they may get in trouble?
Now, that not under this administration. You talk to the average police officers, and they would tell you this is a mayor that has shown I'm going to send you out on the front line, and I'm going to support you while you're out there. We did it by giving them a contract that's respectable. They had over 97% ratification on their contract. And some very touchy situations and scenarios where it appears as though the loud but the smallest numbers were going to have us turn against our officers, and I stood with them. I'm going to make sure they get the support they deserve. All of us remember those chilling photos of watching someone pouring water over the heads of police officers. That's not happening in this administration. We will get the protection and the justice. They go hand in hand.
Mr. Mayor, I love our city, and you know I do, and we want to help in any way we can. Every New Yorker wants to help you. In 8 weeks, we have 51 out of 51 city council seats up. We don't need any more socialists. We don't need people that don't want the right thing for New York City. Will you help create a list of who's good for New York and who's not?
We're going to be loud and clear to tell people who have strongly stood for everyday New Yorkers and real partners. You know, I take my hat off to the Speaker in the City Council, Adrian Adams. We've been able to land 2 budgets during difficult times. We're in talk now as we do this budget modification. We're going to need real partners as we navigate through this process.
You know, I want to ask you, Mr. Mayor, too, kind of going back to the migrant issue, where is the end in sight? Because until they plug the hole at the border, we're just going to keep needing more money. I mean, where is the end game?
Rita, and, I said it at the town hall in a very candid fashion to New Yorkers. That's my concern. I don't see an end in sight. You think about it, $10,000 a month. We are not allowed to turn back buses. We're not allowed to tell people they can't come to the city. We have to comply with the law. But $10,000 a month is not sustainable.
It's not.
Around roughly $2,900 a week. We are now going to have to start thinking about putting women and children into shelters, into congregate settings. There's some very drastic actions that are going to take place in the next series of weeks and months that, I want to be honest with New Yorkers and prepare them for it.
Mr. Mayor, last question. We had Tom DiNapoli on. The 500,000 wealthy New Yorkers have moved out, and the tax rolls are 30% down in income taxes. So if we're spending $5 billion on migrants and our tax rolls are down, at what point do we blow up?
Well, greater economic minds than my mind know what is the tipping scale between not getting real estate taxes, taxes from in our office buildings, people back into office spaces. But let's be clear on this. What many people need to understand, the migrants want to work. And we have large number of jobs. You know it in your profession. We have jobs in all these different industries. So it is really unfortunate that the greatest symbol we have as a country is your right to work. That's the precursor to sleep, to allow you to experience the American dream, is your ability to work. All of us. The difference between the countless number of people that have come through Ellis Island, arriving here, is that they were able to provide for their families and move through American society and be absorbed into the society.
And
congestion pricing. People are worried that we have one nail in the coffin already of New York City, that we're going to put another nail in the coffin. Can we stop it? Can we wait for New York to make a comeback? Can somebody tell the MTA, wait for New York to make a comeback and we'll give you congestion pricing? Don't put another nail in the coffin.
Well, the state made the decision. The federal government gave the authorization. I think we're beyond that now. The name of the game is how do we do it fairly, that it's not going to have a negative impact on the environment and a negative impact on everyday New Yorkers.
And
Mr. Mayor, we stand by you.
Yep.
And we want you to succeed because we stand by you. But, you know, we all have to stand together against what's going on in Washington.
Yeah, boy.
Well said. Well said. You know, and I say all the time, Rita and John, that, you know, right now I'm the pilot of this plane. And instead of people praying that the plane crashes, they should be praying that I can land it because we're all on this together.
Yeah, 1,000%. Listen, we do want to.
Thank you.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you real quick about 9/11. Your thoughts, because what an important day it is, the anniversary, Mr. Mayor.
You know, so significant. I was sharing earlier that my kid brother was a sergeant in the police department at the time, and I was a lieutenant in the 88th precinct, and we could not reach each other for some time because remember, the telephone lines on our mobiles were down, and finally I was able to reach him. But you couldn't really exhale because we knew we lost hundreds of first responders. And it was a significant day. But as we acknowledge today and those we lost, let's not forget that September 12th we got up and we showed the terrorists that we were not going to run, we were not going to flee. And when we got up, the entire country got up. New York City is American city. And so we were ground zero for the terrorism, and we were ground zero for how to rise above it.
Mayor Eric Adams, thank you for coming on, and thank you. And we want to have you on again because New Yorkers need leadership, and they need you to provide it right now because New Yorkers are worried.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Now,
thank you.